Okay guys, I'm going to go over your Unit 3 test study guide and try to make some sense out of this for you, and just kind of go over some last minute tips and see if this helps you do better on this test than the last one. So I'm also going to go over some of the calculator tips that you use with the TI Npire CX. So you can review those skills as well, okay? So the first thing is you're given a set of data. This is called a relation when you have ordered pairs together. So the domain is your x values, and the range is going to be your y values. And in an ordered pair, the x coordinate goes first and the y coordinate goes last. So what I like to do is underline all of my x's, or you can highlight them or whatever. And the reason that I do this is because sometimes your eyes can play tricks on you. So listing your domain, you have -6, 5, 0, and -2. Those are all your x's. Sometimes they'll put them in this little fancy brackets, and that just says that all of these form a set. Another thing that you can do is put those in order from least to greatest. So order from least to greatest would be -6, -2, 0, 5. Okay? So this answer is more accurate than the first, but they're basically the same. All right, so to get your range, we're going to get all of our y values. So our y value is the next one. And this time we have two numbers that are the same. So when that happens, we only want to list that number once. So the least would be -1. The next would be 3. And our last would be 4. Okay? And we're done. And they're already in order from least to greatest, so good. To tell if it's a function, you only look at the x value. And since none of the x's are repeated, yes, it's a function. This also, since it's just a set of points, it is a discrete graph. Discrete graph is just going to be listing the points. And if you go ahead and look here on number 3, these are all just separate points. So this too is a discrete graph. A continuous graph, kind of getting off point right here, but since this is discrete, listing all the points, this is called a continuous graph because it's of the line that connects all the points. All right, so listing out your domain here. Notice that x is on your top row. It will always be your top row, even if it's referring about distance and time or whatever. X will always be the top. So our domain, listing from least to greatest. So -4, -3, 0. And I already have another -3, so I don't want to list that one. I don't want to write those numbers more than once. So there is my domain. I already noticed also, since my x repeated, it's not a function. So no. Why? Because x repeats. Okay. Range from least to greatest, -5. Then it goes 1, 2, and 8. Okay? All right, so number 3. First of all, before you go and list your domain, you may want to write what these points are. I would. All right? So I'm just going to give them some names so that I can write that over to the side, because it kind of gets messy over here. All right, so A is, to name that point, I'm going to start at my origin, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left, so that's -5, and up 1, 2, 3. So this point is -5, 3 for A. All right, so for B, I go back to the origin. I'm going to find my x, and then I'm going to find my y. So I go over 1, 2, 3. That's -3. And from -3, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. For C, I start back at my origin. My x is 0. My y is 1. For D, go to my origin, go over 1, 2, and down 1, 2, 3, -3. For E, go back to my origin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go up 1, 2. So now all I have to do is list out my domain like I've been doing before, starting with my smallest x. So -5, -3, 0, 2, and 5. Listing my y's from least to greatest. I have a 3, I have a -3, and for this, I'm just going to underline in a different color. Okay? These are my y's. All that red kind of runs together a little bit for me. Okay, so I have 3 and -3, 1, I have another -3, and I have a 2. So I'm just going to start out with the one of the -3s because I don't want to repeat it, okay? And then I go 1, 2, 3. And then we're asked, is it a function? So there's two things you can do when it asks you that. If you already have your points listed, you only look at your x values. And if your x repeats, it's not a function. But there's another thing that you can do with the vertical line test. The vertical line test is if I can draw a vertical line, okay, on any of these, I'm going to use my vertical line. If any of those vertical lines that I draw cross any of those points, 2 points at the same time, it's not a function. So I didn't. So 1, nope, 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 nope. So yes, it's a function. Okay? And I know so because vertical line test. Okay? Yes. Because it passes the vertical line test. Okay? Yay. All right, this one right here, my domain is, this is your input, and this is your output. X is always the input, and Y is always your output. So our domain is 0, 4, 9. And our range is 2, 3, 4, 5. And is it a function? No, it's not a function because you have this 9 is being used twice. This says 9, 4, and this says ordered pair 9, 5. So my x's repeat? No, not a function. Okay? Because x repeats. Right? When you are on a continuous graph and you're checking the domain, you have a couple of options. You can write this in inequality form, or remember you can have x and then have your inequality. It could be greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, but you would want to lead out with your x or your y if you're talking about range. And then interval notation is when you have the parentheses or the brackets, okay? So this one right here, or it could just simply be all real numbers, okay? But this one right here, we have arrows on the end, which signifies that it's going to go forever, and it's going to gradually, it's still going, but it's going forever to the right, and then going down forever, kind of going out to the left. So our domain this time is all real numbers. Or you can just simply use R. And then our range is forever going up as well and forever going down. So it too is all reals. It's a graph, so by vertical line test, okay, if I check all my vertical lines, it's always going to just cross my graph once. So yes, because it passes the vertical line test. Zeros are also called your x-intercepts. They're also called your roots. They're also referred to as solutions. If we wanted to look at the ordered pair, because x-intercepts are on your x-axis. So here's one, and here's one. X-axis, my zeros, I know that the ordered pair for those is I'm looking for my x when y is 0. So here's one at -1, here's one at 1, and here's one at 2. So I have 3 zeros. I have -1, 1, and 2. And that's it. All right? So